This video is going to guide you through documenting the test results for your project, which is the final section. So we're going to start off by just renaming some headings. So the major section, which we call testing, we're just going to modify and just split testing up slightly. So we're going to have this section that's being called test plan, so you need to do the same. And then we're going to scroll down. We should all have our test plan in place with a plan for each section of the testing. If we scroll down to the bottom, just past the client interview, client user audience interview, and what we're going to do is put these headings in. So I'm just going to paste them in. You'll want to pause the video and just type those up. And then test results we're going to have as the major heading. Okay, so just dividing testing into two sections: the test plan and test results, and then the subheadings will be in heading 2 text, and obviously we're going to have results for each of these individual sections. Right, once I've done that, I'm going to go and grab the test plan for the first section of my testing. So let's go and show how we evidence the validity of data input results. So I'm going to select my table for the validation testing and copy it, and I'm going to bring it down to the test results section, and I'm going to paste in a copy of that table like so. In fact, I'm just going to tab it onto a new page just to make the presentation a little bit clearer, and then I need to modify this table slightly for test results. So I'm going to take out this particular column here because we don't really need to see it again. So right click, delete cells and column. Okay, and then I'm also going to try and create myself a little bit more room just by bunching up some of these the table a bit. So because we need to show evidence on the right hand side, so try and give yourself as much room on that right hand side as you can without the table taking up too much space, which I think we've done a fairly good job on there. Okay, so right click, and we just need to add in 2 more columns. So column 1, and then insert, and again column 2, and again the column on the far right needs to be the largest column. So I'm just going to bunch everything up a little bit more because that's where we're going to put the print screen evidence of what's happening. Okay, the 2 titles that we want, so if we copy that and paste in, this is going to be known as the actual result, so just put that in actual result, and this one is going to be the evidence. Let's just see if we've got a little bit more room that we can play with over there on that side of things. Okay, so that's the test results table set up for that first section of testing. Right, so we're now at the stage where we can start evidencing the test results. So we're going to conduct test number 1, which is a normal piece of data with Jonathan, and our expected outcome is that our system should accept that. So let's go and see if that's working. So I've just used a random contact form. You guys obviously use the one that you've created on your websites, or if you've made spreadsheets and databases, those particular fields within your forms, you need to be testing this on. So let's paste that value in, and let's click into the next field, and the contact form seems to be perfectly happy with that, so it is accepting normal data, which is what we want. So let's get the print screen evidence. So new print screen, and I'm just going to highlight that particular field to show that that's working. Let go, and then head back into my project and paste that in. Just resize it so it kind of fits into the cell and shows the full view. Make sure it's kind of readable as well in terms of font size. You don't want it to be too small or you'll not be able to see it when you print it. Just need to confirm the actual result, which was that the data was accepted, and that in brackets is a successful test because it did what we wanted it to do. Okay, let's have a look at a one where we expect an error message to appear. So we've used this is to show the presence check is working by entering nothing into the field. So again, let's head down into the contact form. Let's clear out that test data on name and click into the next field, where we can see here clearly that we have got an error message. The validation on this form is working. It's not going to let me proceed without there being some data present in the name field. So that test is doing what I expected. So again, let's go and grab a print screen of that to show that it's working. So there we go. Okay, so print screen to show the error message, back into the project and paste it into there, and then just resize it to fill in. You might need to crop it down a little bit as well. Ooh, I put that in the wrong result, so that should be down at test 4, shouldn't it? Paste it down there, resize so it fits in. And again, that one, if I take this test result up here, was an error message, did display, and that of course is a success because it shows that validation rule's working. Okay, right, so you need to repeat that for all your tests and show what actually does happen when you conduct it. If it does fail, then show the fact it's failed and make sure you comment over here and say that it was a failed test. Obviously that's highlighted an area where you'd need to go and correct that particular test. Also correct that validation and then retest until you actually achieve what you expect. But in the case of these projects, there's no requirement for you to actually do that. Okay, so just show the failed result and make sure you just show on here that it was a failed test as well. Comment on the fact it's a failed test, but don't actually spend time trying to fix it. It's not a requirement of these Info1 projects. If anything, it's a good thing to have a couple of failed tests in your projects to talk about in the exam in terms of what you should do in that situation. Okay, so that's the validation part of the test plan done. Right, we've got our evidence now for the test results for the validity of data input, so we need to worry about the next section of test results, which focuses on the processing in our ICT system, and that's the accuracy of output, so are each of the processes working correctly. So let's go back up to our test plan, and let's highlight the different tests in that plan that we're going to actually test against, and scroll back down to the accuracy of output section. Paste in the test plan and just tap that down a line maybe, and let's see if we can shift that across to the left a little. Let's get rid of these from the side here, and just like we altered the previous test results table, we're going to do the same thing here. So let's try and bunch things up a little bit and create some space on the right hand side to add those additional columns that we need. So one column and insert another one to the right, so 2 columns to the right, and again have the furthest right one as being the largest column, because that's where the print screens are going to go, and we can probably shorten that one a little bit. Okay, in terms of the column names, well, this one is going to be the actual outcome. So in terms of doing the results for this, once you've set your headings up, it's pretty much exactly the same. So for example, this first one is the navigation test on the Contact Us. So my evidence would show the contact page loaded up, hopefully, upon clicking that link. So you just need to show the actual outcome of what happened when you conducted the test. In this case, that would be the Contact Us page. So a small print screen of that's still visible, but it doesn't take up a huge amount of room. And then the actual outcome was whether that was a successful navigation test or failed test, just like we did above. Okay, so either it did happen, in which case it's a success, or it failed. Okay, let me give you one example. So with the contact form, for example, I've done the test, I've entered that test data into the contact form and submitted it. I've then gone to my inbox. There I have the evidence that the test has worked, and I've just pasted the contact form within my email into the test result, and then just put the comment next to it that obviously that was a successful test. Okay, so you just need to repeat for all the remaining tests in this section of your test plan, and yeah, print screen the evidence and then comment in terms of what actually happened in terms of success or failure. Right, so for the presentation of output test results, I've done the same thing that I've done with the previous 2 sections, which is head up into my test plan, get the actual tests that I'm going to conduct, copy the table, and move that down into my test results section like so. You'll notice that the table I've edited, but I've not included an evidence column on this particular table, and that's to avoid showing effectively the same screenshots and loads of the same screenshots again and again and again for each test. So I've just got an actual outcome where I'm going to comment on the actual test result. In terms of the evidence, I'm going to put print screens of each of the outputs that my system produces at the top here. Okay, so if I'm doing a website project, that would be each of my individual pages. If I'm doing a database, that would be my reports and my forms. Or if I'm doing a spreadsheet, that will be my finished worksheets that I've produced. Okay, so let's take, for example, a website project. So if I load up a website I'm going to use, so here's my home page. Go and get the snipping tool, and let's do a new snip on that. So new, I want to show a print screen of my full page. So highlight the evidence. Okay, minimize, and head back to the project, and let's paste them in, and paste them in as kind of thumbnail, so thumbnail size, where you can still get a good idea as to the content of the page. And so that would be my home page, and I'll label that up. Maybe text wrapping as well you might need to worry about, so let's change that to in front of text, and just give yourself a bit of room. And you might want to give yourself about half a side here to display each page in your site. So it's just a process then of going to the next page, hazards, snipping tool, grab the snipping tool, new, and grab your next page and paste in. And these screenshots you can use as your evidence for then what you then go on to say in the test results table. So again, resize and format in front of text. Okay, and lay those out so they're kind of nice, neat, and clearly presented. And then it's just a case then of actually putting in the actual outcome. So in terms of the screenshots, well, hopefully they show that all the images were loaded correctly, so that's a test that was successful. Okay, if any of these fails, by the way, guys, make a comment as to why it failed in there. So why did it fail if that was the case? In these particular tests as well, you'll also notice that you've got some that require client feedback. So to evidence that, again, it might well be that your client agrees that the text and the images are laid out in a logical manner. So that would be a test success. Just test successful. The only thing you'd want to do then is link to the question in the interview to which you can show the evidence. So evidence in interview question 2, for example, and job done. Okay, so again, put in your comments as to what actually happened based on the presentation of output, and make sure you put your print screen evidence in. Right, so the final area of testing then is the client interview or client user audience. If you've done a questionnaire as well, then by all means you can evidence your questionnaire results. But for most people, I'm expecting you to kind of get the client, the user, and the audience perspective from the client themselves. So you've got your interview questions in your test plan. Well, now really it's nice and simple job, hopefully, of actually conducting that interview. And in terms of, you can see in my example project here, I've actually got the responses to those questions in my project. Okay, so yeah, the question, the response of what your client actually said in terms of the feedback against the finished system, the whole system, and that's the end of the test results, and that's the end of the project. Okay, once you got that done. So good job, guys.